Welcome in, everybody. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. It is an exciting day. This is going to be the fastest episode from recording to going live in the history of our show. 305, 306 shows. We are doing this right now, and within 1 hour of us doing this, you will see it live on YouTube here, kicking off the week. I'm joined by, it's going to be a bit confusing at first, but I'm joined by April Simmons, aka Lori Halter, sub for the recap edition. Lori, how are you? Or Lori, April, how are you today?
You know, I am doing fantastic. Obviously, like most people this morning, probably a little tired as we're just getting back. I think my plane landed last night about 10:15. So when you texted me yesterday and said, hey, can we do the recap show? First thing I said is, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to make Lori Halter sign because this is her job. And unfortunately, she works so hard for months leading up to NADA. So for her to get sick, it was heartbreaking to not see her and know that her energy was missed. So I had to bring a little bit of her in this morning because I just love her. So I'm gonna do my best.
Yes, she is the recap queen of 5 minutes, maybe 10. She always does a great job for us. We have big shoes to fill. I know you're busy. You're getting back. We talked about how you have triple-digit emails waiting for you. So let us hop in. We know who Lori is. If you want to take it off, okay. I get it. It's probably a little much. Our homage to Lori Halter, we appreciate it. So big show, biggest show there is in the industry. April, what was the buzz? What was the vibe? What did you get initially when you get there?
The energy level was incredible. And I will say, so I was able to kind of sneak into the hall before they opened, about 10-15 minutes, and everybody's ramping up. When they opened the sessions and everyone just kind of rolled in, I don't know that I've ever been to NADA and seen that many people on immediately just ready to do business. All day, that first day, the booths were full all day, every booth. So there was definitely a lot of people. I don't know the stat on comparatively year over year, but I gotta imagine that the dealer turnout was on its highest level.
I mean, here's the thing, right? I've got clients I've worked with for a long time, never gone to this show, never talked about it. I text them on Sunday, hey, what's up? Hey, I'm at NADA. Wait, what? What do you mean you're at NADA? So it definitely, I can tell you from what we see, we saw a lot of folks that would never normally be there. We're definitely there. The Vegas vibe, obviously, is a big, attraction to everyone there for some reason. But for you, was there a product buzz that happened right away? Was there anything that you were like hearing about, or any buzzwords that sort of initially hit you when the crowd started to make their way?
Well, this time I went about it I approached it differently this year than I have in years past, because in Vegas, there's the West Hall and there's the North Hall. And, it's a hike to try to get from one end to the other end. So I planned ahead this year and did, printed maps and highlighted the areas that I wanted to be in. I also got to give credit to NADA this year for the layout, because I'm sure there were probably some vendors that maybe didn't necessarily appreciate this, but as a dealer, I certainly did. They had all of the categories together. So basically you had all your OEMs together, the CRMs were together, the reputation management pieces were all together, your social people were all together. So, your AI people were all together, your CDPs were all together. So you really had the ability, if I was going there to try to sign up for one thing, I could kind of hit everybody, boom, 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 boom. So really good job on that.
I mean, talk about being organized, talk about having it together, and vendors should appreciate it, because at the end of the day, you and I have talked about this. There's more than enough dealers. There's more than enough vendors. Everybody can have their piece of whatever our pie is here as an industry. We have to understand that we work together. Do you know what I mean? We are people of the same industry. Now, I've also said this to you. It doesn't mean that I have to like everyone. Doesn't mean that everyone is up to speed or par. Doesn't mean everyone is great. But what it does mean is that in industry, we can have competition. Yep. It doesn't matter if, I can imagine a couple of those vendors being like, wait, what? I'm next to so-and-so? Like, Yeah, like your social product. You should be next to so and so. You're also a social product, right? And then those vendors like the pure cars that kind of do everything, and they kind of they can be a marketer, they can be this. I'm glad to hear the OEMs were separate. That way I could just avoid that shit altogether. That makes me very happy to hear. That would have been very easy. What was the favorite product for you early on? What did you love to see that you maybe hadn't or looked more into?
Some of the solutions that I've been in talks with, being able to see the final product, right? Because start having these conversations months ahead of time. Oh, wait till you see what we're going to release at NADA, and usually I will tell you, years past, it's been anticlimactic, right?
Yeah,
So
that's why I was just saying to myself, so stupid because
yeah, yeah,
it never fills out. It
yeah.
never
You're like,
fills
oh, okay, well, that was great.
or
Um,
the pricing that you're only going to give for NADA, like so
Right, right. This kind of crazy nonsense. But I will say that this year, I did feel like there were some really good, not, there's a lot of really new products and new tech, and I kind of tend to shy away from that. I really worry about dealers as a whole this year signing up for like that magic pill that's going to bring back 2022 or something. Um, so I worry about that, and I'm not really that person who's looking for those type of solutions. I'm more looking at, okay, the pain points that I've had, have we finally figured out ways to overcome those, the stuff that's been around for forever? And there were some actually really good things that were out there, whether it be utilizing AI, whether it be, finally having abilities to break down these garden walls of holding my data hostage and trying to work around some of that kind of stuff, which has been fantastic. So those were the things I think for me personally that I saw. But I will tell you, there was a lot of new stuff, a lot of the AI buzzwords, and the people who are like finally going, okay, what is this CDP stuff that's going on? So the buzzwords were definitely out there. But I think all in all, dealers were really there to do business. I talked to a lot of people yesterday. I was, one of the last people to leave. And, people said, yeah, they crushed their goals. People were there to do business.
I mean, I love to hear it. Okay, I do. But I share your fear in the fact that there's a lot of signups and there's a lot of energy in the moment on both sides, right? There's a
Mhm.
lot of drive from the dealer. They get home, they sign up, they go, and they never use it.
Yep.
There's a lot of drive from the vendor who gets really excited. We got this really cool product, and they actually try to roll it out to dealers, and it's not that cool, and it really doesn't work that well. So
Yep.
it is a hit or miss. And I did look. I go to NADA via my LinkedIn feed, right? That's how I attend. And I see a lot of people talking about full booths and full dealers and I got lines of commitments and I got this and I got that. And I think to myself, okay, but now what? Like to me, selling is easy. To me, difficulty is keeping, is
Yep.
producing, is delivering. Right? That's
Yep.
what it is. So, as a dealer, did you yourself sign up for
Oh,
anything
absolutely
by
not.
attendance?
Absolutely not. In fact, Sean, I did a live session with Dealery Process at the show. And I said, I know, I'm sorry, Dealery Process, I'm going to say what I'm about to say, but my number one recommendation to every dealer who sees this right now is don't sign up for anything. I personally would take your notes, take
Yeah.
everything, go back home, digest it with a clear head and, a full night's sleep. And then get on a Zoom call, follow up with those follow-up questions, see what you think it's actually going to work within your store, talk to the people at your store, then sign contracts. And I promise you, they'll give you the same deal they say they're going to give you today. So,
Yes.
so it was kind of one of those, right? Of course, I'm on with a vendor saying this, but no, absolutely not. I've never signed anything at the show itself. Now
Ever
it
though,
is.
right? April, ever, any show ever. This isn't just about the big show of NADA. You go to the digital dealers of the world. You go to the other small venues you attend, and you still are. This is not a product sign up thing, and I know this from experience with you that it also isn't a single line of decision that
Correct.
happens within your organization. This isn't
Correct.
something that April can show up and say, you know what? I do like this. Let me. That's not the Horn way. It's a collective. And that's an approach I think more dealers need to get behind. because the people who do ink at those deals are typically dealer principals who come home and force feed. Force feeding never works from a product development standpoint within your dealership. There has to be buy-in. I know you got excited. I know your dealership maybe thinks it's going to be great from it, but if you don't have a plan to enact, if it's just, hey, it's no different than when our owners used to go to 20 groups, right? You do it on Monday morning. You knew where this guy was all weekend.
Yep.
You could ask, the first thing he'd say to you was, "Hey, Sean, have you looked at such and such metric on our website?" I'm like, where was this guy hanging out with a bunch of other dealers wondering the same thing about, you know? So
well, and it's not even just a matter of the force feeding, Sean. It's also a matter of not seeing the unintended consequences. The people who are in it every day are the ones that are going to give you the right questions to now go back and ask. Like, hey, does this work with this? Because a lot of times we see that, oh yeah, we integrate. Integrate, other than dashboards, it's probably my least favorite word that people throw out there. Oh yeah, we integrate, great. What does that actually mean? Because the definition is different.
April, we're everywhere. It's no problem for us. We have the relationship. We're good. We're good.
Right. Yeah, no, it's awesome. And so that's the part I think that people just need to have their teams involved. And that's why I do tell people, don't sign anything. Go home, figure it out, look at it all, and you're rocking and rolling. So the booths were beautiful. I will tell you, like there was some.
They looked like everybody got the step up package. Looks like everyone did a little bit more for themselves. And again, I'll be honest with you, if they would have known the setup going in, I imagine people, if they knew they were going to be in a group of their peers, I imagine people were going to, they were going to puffy chest stuff.
Yeah.
They were, look, I've got this, I've got that. I hope we can start doing away with some of the silly booth stuff that happens, you know what I mean? Some of the I call it the girl mechanism, where it's just all about, girls or guys with no shirts and people trying to be impressive that way. Like, just be a product, dude. Like, you don't have to bring in the Zach Galifianakis lookalike. It's cool. You can just have a product. When you were in there, when you were looking around, did you get a chance to talk to any vendors about this setup? Did you get any live world feedback about how it was to be positioned with their peers?
Yeah, I would say it was 50-50. I would say 50% of the people are like, this makes a lot of sense, and I'm really glad that it was done this way. And then the other half were kind of like, yeah, that this kind of, sucks because I tried to pull. Well, I will tell you, the ones that said it sucked, they were actually more worried about losing current clients than they were.
That's fucked up to me. That doesn't work for me, because I've had similar discussions with people, right? As we put on our little show, Being Social, and we have these sort of discussions leading up to it. And people were like, well, can I have, we can't have that person because I'm going to have my clients in the room. Hold on a second. First of all, what does it matter? If you're confident in the job that you do, if you deliver on what you told your client you would do, what would it matter if they walk across the street and talk to everyone who does what you do? What should that fucking matter? So the 50-50 people, you find that they're the ones who are like, oh, my customers are going to come over here. They're going to see this. They're going to leave. Did you think your customers weren't going to be able to find products elsewhere, even if you weren't put together? And the last thing I would say about that frustrates me the most is anyone on the wrong side of 50-50 is only being self-serving, because this setup pays for the dealer, which, by the way, people, bell of the ball, the reason y'all got your fucking booths is to impress people like April and her friends and her dealers. So why not make it as convenient for them to I know that April's going to love this, all the bitching that vendors do to us about meet the customer where they want to be met, treat the customer this way. We're held to this high standard as dealers, but vendors can go fuck off, make all the mistakes they want, pay no attention to anyone, and have it their way. Wrong. NADA, great job. Great job. Way to step up for your dealers, the people who pay everybody's bills. I mean, in the way that them being there. I get the vendors have to big coin.
Oh, it is. It's unbelievable.
But you're doing it to be in a room of people you believe to be decision makers, to believe to make a difference to you. So you have to do it, and you can't complain about where they put you. So, all right, let's get into this. What was one person or product that you didn't get to see that April Simmons wishes she would have had time, been able to do? I know you always do a tight schedule. I've hung out with you before at these shows. I know your stuff is pretty well up until like 8 o'clock. There's a lot that goes on in the schedule. What did we miss that we wish we would have with the big show?
I think I think the only thing I potentially could have missed in this particular show would have been a company that I hadn't heard of. I didn't get an opportunity to just pop into a booth or two of something that wasn't already on my radar. Because you're right, I had a really, really tight schedule. And if you look at every single name of the people that were there, there was a lot. And so I am certain that, you know, there were probably a space or two that would have been great to pop in. There was also people that I intended to see that I didn't see at all. You know, you go in with these great intentions of getting to, you know, see people that maybe you haven't seen in a year or 2 years, and in some cases longer, and you really just want to have that in real life moment of, you know, even if it's just a quick hug and I'm glad you're having a great show and keep going. I mean, there was a solid amount of humans that I really wanted to see that I didn't get an opportunity to. So that part is always hard as well, whether you're a vendor or a dealer. I think it's hard to do it all. I think it's not hard. It's impossible. It is impossible to go to NADA and actually accomplish everything you want to do in those couple of days.
I mean, look, the maps are overwhelming. The people just showing maps of where their booths were. I was like, dude, where? This is crazy. There's so much going on. The human element, I know, is a huge factor for you. Did you do any of the big parties, or was this always like April rolls? Sometimes she goes to big parties. Other times she likes to roll under the radar. Although I have seen her show up to a karaoke bar in a fucking limo the size of a tank. But that's neither here nor there. What party, what buzz did you like there?
So to your point, yes. I mean, I planned ahead. Friday, I had the most amazing dinner sponsored by Traver Connect. And if you don't know John Traver and Bob Gower, they are two of just the best humans. Whether you're doing business with them or not, they are just amazing, amazing humans. We had dinner at one of Wolfgang Puck's restaurants, and he just happened to pop in. And I guess he comes to the restaurant like 3 times a year. They never know when he's going to show up, and he just showed up. So it wasn't even planned. So that was pretty amazing. One of those moments where you just kind of went, oh, this is how this week, you know, this weekend's going to roll. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. And then from there, yeah, we went multiple other places. I mean, there was so many parties to choose from, and you just gotta plan. So I committed to that dinner that was amazing. And then from there, we went to 3 or 4 other places and just kind of hopped through them, from the guys with dealer funnel to ACV to, you know, kind of capping the night doing our own thing. So it was the first time in a long time April had been up for like 24 hours straight. So that was a lot of fun. The second night, you know, the parties just went bigger. I missed the Sphere. I heard it was amazing. That was opening night. That last night I had a nice small dinner with just females. So it was a nice quiet,
I was gonna say, where was April's All Stars? Where was the girl?
Yeah, so I had a decompressing small dinner that night, because, you know, the vendors, they all have to commit to dinners and things of that nature. But we made sure that we planned it so that I could immediately walk out of said restaurant 10 feet to go see TLC, Warren G, Paul Abdul, right? Like that, like Digital Airstrike, man, they put on an amazing concert party at the Omnia. That was super duper fantastic, super lot of fun. And then we left there, went to the Epsilon party, and was able to actually catch up and see Journey. So, you know, we missed the openers there, and we just kind of went, and it was amazing. There was a lot of, you know, Duran at the Capital One. They had Tom Brady. Friday night, there was some definite great party vibes out there, and it was pretty amazing. And for the first time, I made it to multiple places. You know, I will say probably the most frustrating thing for people both going to the show and leaving the show was flights. Flights were a real problem this year. A lot of cancellations, a lot of delays. Yesterday, flights were getting canceled because I guess Biden came to town, and so people's flights just got canceled. And then as the day went on, it just got worse. And then last night, because of weather in California, people missed flights again. So the flying aspect was not the greatest. I think that was the hardest part for almost everybody, was the getting there and leaving. So
traveling does suck, but man, that sounds like Vegas being Vegas and the automotive industry being the automotive industry. I mean, over the top, bringing people together, having parties with big names. I mean, TLC, come on, like,
oh man, I'll send you some videos. That was
in there.
like,
I mean, I can just see
oh,
April getting down in
oh, it was so much fun.
yeah.
It was so much fun because that's my genre. Like, and people like,
I know.
and this is the moment where people are like, "Wait a minute, how old are you?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I turned 45 next month."
TLC. Wait a second. I thought I thought you were 30. You're like,
yeah,
cute,
that's
but no, appreciate it. All right, so let's wrap it up. You're busy. You've got a lot going on. What is your advice for future NADA seekers and/or show seekers? What is the best piece of advice besides don't sign up for shit, which is by far the best piece of advice I've ever heard? But aside from that, whether it's planning, whatever it is, what is it that you would advise of the dealers for the future shows here for the rest of this year, leading up to what I assume is next year's NADA, I believe, going back to New Orleans. I believe first time.
This is what I heard. So yeah, next year, New Orleans. I think the biggest piece of advice, it is planning, but it's also planning open space, right? You've got to allow the space in between so that you can go to the one-off recommendation, or hey, this time took me a little bit longer at this booth than I initially planned. I think that's really important. But when I say plan, really plan ahead. Say, okay, who are the vendors that you have a great relationship with, that you do want to just stop by and say hi and make sure, you know, the support goes both ways. Because I do believe in that. I do believe that those who support me, I try to give back and support them in any way that I can. So I do think that part's important. And then look at that one problem that maybe you really are trying to solve ahead of time. Don't try to solve 20 problems. Maybe break it down to 1 or 2 or 3, or maybe just one a day, and then chart it out on the map. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give people, because if you think I can be at this session at 1 o'clock and then at 2 o'clock meet somebody at a booth over here, you are sorely mistaken, because it could take 45 minutes to walk from there to there. But if you plan ahead and you visualize it actually on the map, I planned my day completely old school, printed the map, broke out the highlighter, and went, okay, they're close to this, so I'm going to go here first, then there next, and I'm going to hit, you know, this block all in one shot. And it definitely helps, you know, the feet and the walking and all that too. If you plan ahead, you can hit a lot more and get a lot more done. So other than don't sign up for nothing.
Other than that, don't sign up for anything.
Other than that,
this was exactly what I needed it to be. You are tremendous. Thank you so much. This is, geez, you've been on the show now like 3 times in 3 weeks, or 2 weeks. So I appreciate you.
Well, you do have to give Lori. We're going to give her partial credit, right? So April will take a 50% credit for today's show, and I'm going to give Lori Halter a 50% credit for today's show. Yeah.
I love it. All to Lori, all to April. Well, you've heard it here, folks. This is the NADA recap. We've got everything you could possibly want. Your feedback on what buzzing, products of people who April liked and enjoyed. It's all here for you. Thank you so much, April, for taking your time. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you again next week. This week was supposed to start a little 2-piece episode about your value. Because we have April's availability, we went and pushed that back. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to talk about, in week 1, how to value yourself. And in week 2, we're going to talk about how to value your product. Thank you all so much. Have a great week.